Hey everybody, welcome to episode 58 of Two Guys, Zero Planners. Kind of starting off giggling because I totally forgot how to start these things, and it's not even been a year since the last episode. We're doing better this year.
Yeah, we are, certainly.
A lot better than a unwanted visitor that you recently found. Yeah, how's that going?
Yeah, so I think last time we started talking about why I took a bit longer, and we started late because I found a mouse in my room. Sadly, that wasn't the only mouse. So after that, I don't know, a few days later, it sort of started to smell odd in the room, and it took us a few days. And then at some point, I picked up all the pillows off the couch, and there it was. A dead mouse. It smelled really bad. Could already, I don't know, see stuff moving. So there were probably some fly larvae in the mouse, eating her up from the inside. And yeah, that wasn't great. So
Ew.
Yes. So I had to get that out and clean the couch and clean the pillows and everything. But yeah, at least it stopped smelling then.
I mean, that's a plus. I would hope that it would quit smelling after that.
Yes.
How big was the mouse to begin with?
Yeah, it was a fairly small mouse, but
Oh, okay, so just kind of like a small field mouse.
yeah. But it
Okay.
smelled bad enough for the size, I guess.
Hopefully, you eradicated the smell from the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's ew. Just ew.
Yeah.
Ugh. I owned a guinea pig. No, was it a guinea? No, it was a hamster. I owned a hamster one time, and I will never, ever be around rodents again. They're just not my thing.
Mhm.
Which, I don't know. I belong to a Discord group that, for some reason, they are all about capybara. I don't know why.
Yeah, but they're not rodents.
They aren't? I thought they were.
No, they're not rodents. But I mean, that's a technical thing. But yeah.
Wait. It's
Okay. Capybaras, guinea pigs, and the like, they are actually not related to rodents, as far as I know.
I'm just a telephone or a telecommunications engineer. That's all I do for a living. I don't know about these things. Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully that is the last of the outside intruders that you have to deal with.
Yeah, now that we're, I don't know, approaching a week of a high temperature in the 50s, I guess we won't keep the windows open anymore. Summer is definitely over, and with a vengeance. It was like, I don't know, 85 last week, and now it's like super cold.
Well, okay, I guess here's the thing. You guys actually believe in air conditioning, right? Unlike the British.
No.
Oh.
We don't have air conditioning here.
That's tragic.
I mean, we just heat our houses. We normally don't cool them.
Like, it's only 74 degrees today, and I still have my air conditioner on 70.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also fairly dry here, and we live in a super new house, so it's super insulated. So you open the windows in the morning, and at 9 a.m., I don't know, you close everything, and it's fine for the day. So
That's too much work. I mean, just kick the air conditioner on. Cool the universe.
Yeah, but I'm also, the room I am in needs to be about, I don't know, somewhere in the 70s because of all the fish tanks. So
Yes. The fish tanks. We'll have to talk about those again at some point. But not today. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, now that the weather's getting good, I may actually be able to do something about my camera guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from taking some pictures of the moon and some pictures of the sun and whatnot, which I should probably post some of those pictures on Instagram, since I deleted Instagram off my phone. I haven't really been uploading anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've not really been using my cameras that much, and I'm starting to feel really guilty because it's like, You buy two of the same cameras so you can film 8K video for YouTube. Then you quit doing YouTube, and now you just have 3 cameras sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I want a 4th camera, because of course I do.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. If it wasn't for carpal tunnel, I would start collecting pens again, because at least pens is cheaper than cameras.
Yeah, I talked about that with a friend of mine. In the end, pens are just super simple things, right? They had them figured out 100 years ago, right? More or less.
Right.
And then now it's just pretty materials and making them look a bit different, and that's all. But yeah, I dug out one of my film cameras recently and almost done shooting a roll with a 21 millimeter lens, which is something that's a bit odd, but it's nice for the mountains, at least.
I was about to say 21 millimeter would be really good for landscape.
Yeah, we had a day trip into the mountains, so there's a really nice lake there, and we hiked the day and went for a swim in super cold water and everything. But yeah, hopefully I'll get a few nice shots out of that.
Well, hopefully. At some point, I think I want to try my hand with actual film photography and see if I'm anywhere close to decent at it. I highly doubt I will be, but, it's always worth trying. I just have to find, 1, a decent film camera, and 2, a good supply of film that's not going to cost an arm and 5 legs.
Yeah, it's gotten really... So the film has gotten really expensive over the last few years. Plus, all the cameras are getting old, right?
Right.
On the other hand, I think Pentax released a new camera this year already.
The Pentax K17, I think.
Something like that, yeah. So we can hopefully expect a few more coming out in the...
Oh, it's just the Pentax 17.
Yeah, right, this half-frame thingy.
Yeah, the K line is for their DSLRs.
Yeah.
They are... Pentax is so weird. Like, everyone else has moved over to mirrorless. No one's doing DSLRs anymore. And Pentax is just sitting there going, hey guys, hold my beer. We're going to keep doing DSLRs.
Yeah, but I think they are now owned by Ricoh, right?
Yeah, they've been owned by Ricoh for a bit, I think.
Yeah. So they do Ricoh itself makes the weird cameras anyway, right? So with the GR series and stuff like that. So I guess it sort of fits.
I'm gonna grab that link for the show notes. YouTube and Petapixel, Pentax 17. There we go. Yeah, I watch a lot of. It used to be DP Review back when Chris and Jordan were doing the videos for them, and before that, Camera Store. But now that they're with Petapixel, I watch a lot of their stuff, and I do briefly remember. No, it says I watched the entire thing. Okay, apparently I watched the entire review on the Pentax 17.
But I don't know. Half frame is. That's really really small for film.
Well, I wonder what kind of detail you'd be able to get out of that.
Yeah, and obviously depends on the film you're using, but yeah, it's
right.
Usually quite a lot of grain for the size, but yeah.
Okay, there we go. Huh. Well, that it's only $500.
Yeah, I don't know. For a film camera, that's already a lot, I think.
Compared to the $4,000 I'm wanting to spend on a Panasonic S5 Mark II with the 24-105 f4.
Yeah, okay, but that's that's not a fair comparison, because that Pentax doesn't even have autofocus, and it has this tiny fixed lens as well, right?
Right, and the Panasonic does have phase detect autofocus. It is a full frame camera and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, I already have 3. I have 2 Fuji X-H2s, and I've got a Fuji X-H2S. Do I really need the Panasonic? I know there's some people out there that'll say, well, the Fujis are only APS-C. The Panasonic's full frame. You'll get better depth of field. You'll get a lot better bokeh in the shallower depths of field. And it's like, I don't care. I do all my portrait stuff at f4 anyways.
I mean, you also only need one fountain pen, right?
2 fountain pens, thank you very much. I believe in the Sith rule of fountain pens. There must always be 2.
Yeah, one for the headings and one for the text. Yeah.
Well, one because it was given to me by a fan of BYOB Pen Club and the YouTube channel. And the other because I'm a sucker for a Pelikan M805.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good fountain pen. But, I mean, having the Pelikan M600 with a Masayama FCI grind on it is just amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, of the 2, that one's my favorite. So the 805, it's like, okay, if I ever did downgrade to just one fountain pen in my life, the 805 would go.
Yeah, but what kind of life would that be, right?
Yeah, it's already weird. I mean, I'm carrying around a 20 fountain pen case that on one half has my Midori Cotton A5 notebook. And then on the other half, there's 10 pen slots and only 2 pens. They feel empty. They feel alone. They need brethren.
Mm.
But then it's like, okay, if I'm going to start acquiring pens again, then I might as well dust off the dang YouTube channel.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just take a picture. Stuff. Just take a picture and put it on Instagram, I guess.
You know, that is one thing. What is keeping me from just making a blog?
I mean, you already have a website where you could just...
I do.
Put the stuff, right?
I do. And it wouldn't be that hard for me to just add a blog page. You know, I may come to regret having this podcast with you at some point because it keeps giving me interesting ideas.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you always have to be careful not to overdo it, right? And do too much, and then you're burning out again because of it, right?
Well, especially since I'm considering going back to school in about a year.
Oh. Yeah. Right.
I'm sick of being a dropout, so I'm either going to go with business administration with management information systems or computer science with information system focus.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, I would love to go ahead and just completely switch over to electrical engineering, but I would essentially be starting over with needing 96 credit hours versus only needing like 70 credit hours for the other 2 options.
Okay.
Yeah. I've already got an associate's degree, but when I dropped out, I was 3 classes away from a bachelor's in history, and only so much of that bachelor's in history actually transfers over to any of the other degrees. So it's just minimizing the damage. And because I am maxed out on student loans, thanks to poor life choices in my 20s, and poor wife choices in my 20s, take that how you will, all of this has to come out of pocket. So... Yeah, I can only afford so much school per year. The good thing is my job will cover between 20,000 and 25,000 of it.
Oh. Well, you Americans and your paying for everything attitude.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you want this really good job? You need a piece of paper that says you can have it, but we're never going to use anything that piece of paper required you to do.
Yeah, I mean, that was my experience too, in a way, apart from not having to pay for it. But yeah.
Yeah, you live in a civilized country.
Yeah. I mean, we students back in the day went to the streets to demonstrate about actually maybe having to pay, I don't know, 500 euros per semester or something instead of nothing. And then they scrapped it again.
Wow. 500 euros would barely cover the cost of books for one semester for me.
Yeah.
When I was a history
that's
major.
Of course true that there are some books you had to get, but yeah, not that many.
Yeah, like seriously, when I was going to OU in 2007, each semester tuition was costing me, I want to say 9,700, and then books just for one semester was another $800 to $900, and then parking was another 750.
Parking, that's weird.
Well, yeah, because the OU campus, if you don't live on campus, there's only 2 parking garages for the entire campus.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's true. I think I also paid 300 something for public transportation for the year or something.
And I mean, and that's one thing. It's like, if America actually believed in good public transit, then sure, I would have just parked for free at the basketball arena on the south end of campus and taken some type of public transit the 2.5 miles to where my classes were. But it's like, no, if I want to be able to park within like 3/4 of a mile of my class, I have to pay $750 a semester. And even then, heaven forbid I have a Saturday class. If I had a Saturday class, I was fucked. Because the parking garages serve the football stadium.
Okay. Saturday classes. I never had a Saturday class.
I mean, again, history department. There were a couple Russian history classes that it was Wednesday and Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of having a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it was Wednesday, Saturday. And I'm just like, what? But it's like, yeah. Never again. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I think I remember one semester, one of the professors, he used this expensive textbook, and then he sort of gave us a link to a pirated PDF version and said, but don't tell anyone, you can get the book here. You don't need to buy it.
Man, the one thing that pissed me off more than anything, I think it was my Russian history revolutions class, where it's just focusing on 1905, 1917, and 1919. The professor had 3 books that were required reading that were written by the professor. Yeah, talk about conflicts of interest.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Right. And it's just like, geez, I hated that so much. Like, I finished that class out of protest. It was just like, I'm because I would have had to retake it. My bachelor's degree was going to be in Imperial Russian history, so come hell or high water, I had to take that class. So there's no way I'm going to be taking it again, because I'm not going to be giving that professor the satisfaction of milking my tuition money again.
Yeah.
It also pissed me off that 21% of my tuition was going to the athletic department. Like,
yeah, that's also a very American thing that exists. I mean, that's also nothing we have here.
Yeah, I mean,
you go to university to learn stuff.
The football stadium at OU is a nice football stadium, but I'm not happy with the fact that my tuition went to go pay for it. Like, that should have been some type of tax initiative for the city of Norman. That should not have been we're just going to go ahead and milk our students dry for 21% of their tuition. That was the most annoying thing on the face of the earth. And yeah, so the other thing I learned, I'm not going, the degree program will be completely online. I'm not going to be going back to physical school to do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is my plan. But since it all has to be out of pocket, that's why I'm waiting a year before I do it. And I mean, there is a pragmatic reason for wanting to do this as well. So my job is a good job. I get paid a stupid amount of money for what I do. And the odds of my job going away are very slim. However, like everything, it could potentially go away.
Yeah.
So on the off chance that hell freezes over, a meteor hits Earth, and my job decides that it has to go away, I need to make sure that I can move into a job that pays pretty close to the same that I'm making now. Because, well, I have expensive tastes, which, yes, I acknowledge 100% is a life choice that I made, and I made it poorly. But I have expensive tastes and everything, and I need to be able to afford those, which requires me to make minimum $70,000 a year. The problem with my current line of work is technically I only have help desk experience.
Yeah.
A considerable amount of help desk experience, but that really doesn't translate into other job opportunities. So I would have to essentially start over at like $40,000 a year and hope I could get up to where I'm currently at. Now, keep in mind, in about 2.5 years, I'm going to be making almost $93,000 a year as a college dropout. I need to hedge my bets, get my piece of paper, and it needs to be in something that can complement the help desk experience and get me a position that is minimum $70,000 to $80,000 a year. Yep. So business administration with management information systems or computer science information systems are those two pieces of paper that can allow me to either A, transition into a job at a different company that is equal to or better paid than what I have, or B, transition into a different job within the company I'm currently at that pays equal to or better.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I'm happy that I'm not good. Well, I'm studying for a AWS certificate, and that is just so annoying and boring, and I'm ready to fall asleep every time I watch those videos. But yeah, happy that I'm not just doing that, and then it's done.
The world of AWS.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's multiple choice is nothing we usually do in Europe. I think it's more of a thing in the US, right? At least in certain.
It depends on what you're doing, but yeah,
fields.
Multiple choice is, yeah.
But this is so annoying because you're not essentially learning about the tools. You're sort of learning how to spot the trick questions and how to answer the multiple choice things and know the AWS marketing to pick the right answer, which with the experience that I have, I might disagree, but I still need to pick the AWS answer.
So you're having to suffer through the Americanization of your education?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, here's this course. I'm spending a few hours a month on it, and then hopefully soon I'll have the piece of paper, and I'm also probably never going to use it, but yeah, work pays for it, and I can add it to my CV, I guess.
Right. I mean, okay, so as far as multiple choice goes, okay, so for the history degree, it's not really multiple choice. Like for the associate's level stuff, sure. If you're doing American history prior to 1865, then you may get multiple choice. Who was the general of the Army of the Potomac during the Battle of Gettysburg? And they'll give you 4 generals, and you just have to choose the right one. Sure, I could see that on an exam. But once you move on to your 3,000 and 4,000 and some of the 2,000 level courses, most of the history program is your midterm is a 5 to 15 page research paper. Your final is a 15 to 25 page research paper. Go get your primary sources. You'll meet with your professor during your standard appointed classroom time to go over where you are in your paper, where you are in your drafting, and that's it.
But I mean, to be fair, I think you're paying 150 euros to Amazon for taking the exam, right? So, I mean, it probably can't be more than just some random multiple choice because it has to be automated.
So, okay, I have a thing for that then. I'm already paying like $150 to Amazon per year. Can I just get an AWS certificate because I already do that as a customer?
I don't think so. But you can try.
I think they should do that. No, that would be horrible. That would be horrible if that happened. Also, because we've been talking about school, I'm sitting here looking at Google Maps of the OU campus, and it's giving me nightmares again. I should not be doing this. They've expanded the football stadium even more.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently now they can fit 93,000 drunk rednecks in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all the drunk rednecks. Yay. So that was a tangent.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, so let's get back to pens. When did you get a Pilot 823?
I looked it up. I got it in end of February.
How have we not talked about it till now?
Because we talked about other stuff, and then we spent a lot of time talking about stuff, and it would have taken too long, I guess. So yeah, I finally got that pen after all the 6 color variants of the Asvine V126, which is basically their copy of that cigar-shaped vac filler. And I thought, okay, now I have those. Maybe I should see if the actual pen everyone is copying is better. And obviously it is. It's really an amazing pen. The tolerances are just really great. And it just works better, right? You can feel it when you're uncapping it. You can feel it when you're filling it. Obviously, the nib is also much better than those cheap steel nibs you get on the, on a 30 euro pen. And yeah, it's really, really, really nice. So I've been got a bottle of Kujaku, and it's been filled with that ever since, essentially. And I've written it dry 3 or 4 times, and then now I'm also using other pens again. But yeah, it's a really, really great writer.
When I momentarily had an 823, I can definitely confirm that filling experience, that overall pen use experience was just amazing. I loved mine.
Yeah.
So I do not doubt at all that you are finding yours quite pleasurable. Why Kujaku though?
Because I like the color. I don't know. I had a sample, and it's one of the colors where I thought, yeah, eventually I need to buy a bottle of it.
I have no rebuttal for that.
Also, I think, what was your favorite Cioro, I think, right? And I think that
Shoro?
was...
Yeah,
I think that was out of stock at that point, and I thought, okay, then I buy that instead.
Well, fair enough. I'm looking at it right now. Thank you, Mountain of Ink, for having a good review of the color.
Yes.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was a different color. I approve. Yes, I approve. Not that my approval means anything, but I totally approve now. Man. So, do you find yourself reaching more for the 823 than your other pens, or is it just part of the rotation now?
So for a while, I exclusively used that for work. So it was like a few weeks where I just used that combination and went through a few fills. These days, it goes into rotation with another 4 or 5 pens, and every time I use that again, I say, that is a nice pen. Much better than some of the others. But yeah, I think that's a pen that will be inked most of the time, if not all of the time.
Okay. I mean, now, for a while there, you were trying to cut the amount of pens that you had.
Yes. Past tense.
Yeah. How has that been going?
That went well for a while because I sold quite a few. And then recently, I don't know, maybe I got a bit stressed again about work and stuff, and I've been buying a few more again. So it's still better than it was in the past, but yeah, I'm again buying pens. No inks though, and that still works somehow. That I use up what I have.
So what have you bought pen wise?
So I think there was that 823. I also got another Pilot, so the Custom Heritage 91. So that's like a smaller pen with a number 5 nib.
Yeah.
Or Pilot number 5 nib with a soft nib. That's also nice and juicy. Like I said, all the S-Vine copies of the 823. For those, I wasn't a fan of their filling system. I mean, it's a vac filler, but somehow I didn't like it, so I took out all the rubber gaskets, and now they're just eyedroppers. And I replaced all the nibs with others that I had in my drawer because I also didn't like the nibs. Right. But at least the materials are nice. Then I got a Platinum 3776 with a music nib. I saw that one day on Amazon for a good price, and I thought, okay, yeah, I could get that. I wanted one for a while, and then it came, and I had a box without a pen, but at least I could just send it back and then get a replacement with a pen without any fuss. At least that worked. But yeah, I'm not going to buy pens from Amazon again, at least expensive ones. Yeah.
Totally
and then,
fair.
While I was on vac fillers, I thought, okay, there's also the Twisby Vac 700. So I bought that too. I didn't even talk about all the other Chinese pens. I didn't even put them on the list. So.
All the other Chinese pens.
And now I'm back to somewhere between 50 and 60 pens.
Jeez. That's a lot, man. That is a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But, segue alarm. I did, after all, make a nice AI feature for Fountain Pen Companion where you can get the AI to suggest you what pen and ink combination to use. So,
I mean, when I said that, when I told you to make that, I was joking, and you decided to run with it. So,
yeah, I mean, as a programmer these days, there's no way around AI, right? I mean, most of it is useless garbage, and companies just put it on their sites because everyone thinks it's important to have, even though it generally isn't of much value. But I thought, yeah, at least I should play around with it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did, right? I just said to ChatGPT, hey, this is my list of pens, and this is my list of inks, and some data about when was the last time I used them. And
right
for the inks, we now FBC now has tags and descriptions and everything. I can send all that along too. And then I asked ChatGPT to suggest a combination of them and maybe prefer inks and pens that haven't been used in a while, and then also give a reason. And then that's what it does. It spits out some weird, not to be taken serious reasoning, but it's still fun to have some AI give you a combo you could use.
Okay. How well have you found it so far? I mean, like, have you gotten feedback on it from anyone so far yet?
Yeah, so I posted that. I always post new features in the Pen Addict Slack, and yeah, I think people liked it. There were a few that are actually using it. I mean, I personally am not using it. I always think, yes, I'll use that next, but then I've already 5 or 6 pens lined up that I want to ink up next, so I never get around to it. So for me, it's more about playing with the technology than anything else.
So what do you think you're gonna bring in next as far as just one-off pet projects for the website?
When I built that AI feature, I noticed that for inks, I have a lot of information, right? And the more text you can provide to the AI, the better, right? So for inks, I can say, hey, there's like tags for this ink, and it says blue and sheen and wet and something, and there's maybe even a description describing the ink. But for the pens, there's nothing like that, right? So it would be cool to work on that part, to sort of bring that up to the same level and say, hey, and here's the public listing of all the pens, and you can add tags, there can be descriptions, and you can link to reviews of everything. And that's sort of the current thing I'm working on.
Okay.
But yeah, that's still still a while off, I guess.
I was about to say that one seems like it's going to be a little bit more involved. Although I'm not a programmer, so I do not know if that will be more involved or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of the behind the scenes thing about are these two pens the same pen or not, and sort of clustering everything. That's already done. And now I just need to build all the features to show it to people. If once I'm motivated again to work on that stuff, I shouldn't take more than a few days. But I guess you have to find a few days first. But let's see. My wife's going on holiday in October, and I'm alone, and I'm still not sure if I will just take a few extra holidays, or if I want to work and take care of the kids and homework and everything. So let's see. Maybe I have some extra hours there to spend on that stuff.
So do you do everything on... I know you do everything on Mac.
Yep.
What keyboard are you using?
Just the standard Apple keyboard, whatever that's called. Okay. I have an old one. I don't. But yeah, I can't use mechanical keyboards there. I really need something really, really flat. Otherwise, my wrists start to hurt.
I'm torn. Like, I want to build a low profile keyboard that kind of mimics the MacBook Air keyboard that I have. Mm-hmm. But then on the other hand, I like this bigger keychron in front of me, and I'm just like, what do I want to do? Because it's just, you collect cheap fountain pens.
Yeah.
I collect key switches for keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
And the key switches I currently have are Wuche Studio. No, not Wuche Studio. Those were the Morandis. These are Epomaker sea salt silent switches. So when you press them down, they're virtually silent. Mm-hmm. And then the thicker the keycap you have, the more the sound is suppressed. And they're smooth switches. They only have like 35 grams of actuation force. So you barely have to press them down to get them to operate. Stupid me decided to make a key switch tester that I made 2 of them. So I've got 32 different key switches in the tester. On one of them, it's nothing but linear switches. So, you know, what you press is what you get. You don't have a bump. You don't have a click. It's just straight up and down. Mm-hmm. And I've got my 2 favorite switches in there, the Wuche Studio Morande switches and the Epomaker Sea Salt silent switches. The Morandis are like 60 grams of actuation force, but they're a very nice, satisfying, like marbly sound. So nice and deep. If you've got the right keycaps, it's a little bit thocky. So it's a good sound. It's not clicky. It's not grating. I wanted something a little bit more silent, which is why I went with sea salts. But there is a switch made by Kale. Mm-hmm. Called the Box Ancient Gray. This key switch has a 90 gram actuation force. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you've used a Pilot Vanishing Point or a capless Desmo before.
Well,
you know that resistance you get
the copies, the Chinese copies,
or the Chinese copies. You know the resistance that you get when you're pushing it to go ahead and expose the nib. Yeah.
That's
now put your index finger on there and press down using your index finger instead of your thumb.
Okay, yeah, that's like, I don't know.
It's pretty heavy. It's a pretty heavy push. Now that's probably, I don't have anything to measure that, but I would assume that that's probably in the ballpark of about 150 to 165 gram force to push that. So slightly lighter than that. Now imagine an entire keyboard made out of keys where you have to push that hard.
A workout for your fingers.
That's what I want. I want to build a keyboard with these Box Ancient Grays, and I'm sitting here going, The bad thing is my work keyboard and my home keyboard would have to use the same switches or it would throw me off, which means I have to buy 200 of these things.
Yeah.
And they're 50 cents per switch.
Okay, but are you sure your fingers? I mean, your hands are probably not in perfect order anyway.
I
I don't know.
mean that's the other problem.
Yeah.
Would this exacerbate the carpal tunnel? I think so.
Yeah,
But
probably.
I don't know.
After you've spent all the money.
Right. I mean, so I'd have to spend about $105 to get all the switches that I need for both keyboards. I mean, what can I say? This is important. This is my fingers must feel what it's like to type on brick walls. And there goes Karma with the squeaky toy again.
Yes. I mean, she has to.
She has to. She has to make herself known. Yep.
Each episode. That's true.
It's
been long enough. All this talking to no one.
It's like you're just talking to that big screen in front of you again. You're not. Yeah. Who are you talking to? And it's like, here's the other thing. If I don't go with these box grays, then I'm going to want to go with this other switch called the KO Box Royal. This is a clicky switch. Well, it's not a clicky switch. It's a tactile switch. So you've got a bump at the top, and then once you push through the bump, it's smooth all the way down. Mm-hmm. But that little bump of resistance is what keeps you from having a phantom press or a double press. And some people really like that. I've never typed on a tactile keyboard. So I'm wondering if maybe that's because of how fast I type. I wonder if maybe that's something I want to consider getting, because it would improve my accuracy a little bit, like when my fingers are gliding across a key and I get an accidental press because my keys are only 35 grams of force to actuate. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if having that tactile switch will help with the accuracy. The bad thing is the Box Royal tactile switches are 75 grams of force to 75 grams of force to actuate. So not much better than the Box Ancient Grays. But I don't know. I'm you see the conflict here. It's like, I want to buy a new camera. I want to buy new key switches. You're tempting me with fountain pens again because you're evil. I need to win the lottery.
And then you want to get an education.
Or a re-education, something like that, yeah.
A re-education.
I mean, yeah, I want to be re-educated. I've already been educated once. I need to be re-educated. That's how that works, right? Or is that I'm totally missing the point. Yes, re-education. That's 1984 stuff.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Oh dear God!
Don't you learn that stuff in your Russian history?
Oh, what I need to do is start a 5-year plan.
Oh, that's true. 8 years is even better. Or was it 7? I forget.
Oh, I think it was 7. Oh man. I think we've officially hit the loopy point of the podcast.
I think so, yeah.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and put these other 2 topics back into the topic list for next episode. Mm-hmm. And as always, good hearing from you. I've got another episode of Expanding Beyond that I need to edit this week, which I will be doing along with editing this episode. Mm-hmm. So till next time, we'll see you later.
See you. Bye-bye.